Welcome to Ask the Pastors or Ask a Pastor or whatever the heck we're calling this. Can we say heck? Can I say heck?
You can say heck. Don't say crap around my 12-year-old. She'll get mad at you.
That's funny. You can't say stupid around my 3-year-old or she freaks out.
Yeah, I don't like that word either.
Well,
That was the big
except
one
she
in my
doesn't
house.
say stupid. She'll be like, why did you say stupidity? And we're just like,
The
it's
words
cute.
you can and cannot say.
Right.
Right.
Anyway,
I
so
know.
it's my turn to ask you questions.
It is your turn to ask me questions.
And I've got 4 cool ones and
Cool
one
ones.
deeper one.
Okay,
You ready?
I'm ready.
What is the best kind of date? Dinner and a movie or dinner and an activity? Sorry, giggle, giggle.
Giggle, giggle. You crack me up. Okay, so dinner is definitely there. So here's the thing. Nathan
Definitely
and I-
there?
Definitely there. So Nathan and I, here's what happened. Since the girls were really little, like they would have that parents' night out or whatever, and we would drop our kids off, and then we would go for dinner, and then we'd go grocery shopping. So like a really good date for Nathan and I is to go to dinner and go to the grocery store. Because one, we're still getting things done, but we're doing it together and we talk and chat and visit and do whatever, and we're not spending any extra money, like, because sometimes, like, just going to the movies. So when we go to the movies is like when he would take a lunch break and we'd go at noon to see the newest movie, like Marvel movie or whatever they came out. But yeah.
Fun.
We're not big activities people.
Yeah.
We're not big date people, really. We do lunch
So,
dates.
my husband Isaiah
Yeah.
doesn't, because I don't know that we've said our husband's name before, so clarity for you. Isaiah does not really like to go out to eat. It is not his thing.
Why?
Like, I just don't think he grew up that way.
Makes sense.
So like, I'll be like, hey, let's go on a date, and he'll be like, do we have to go out to eat?
Oh, that's funny. See, Nathan and I are like, where do you want to go eat that the kids won't, that they don't like to eat?
So like, he'll go for me, but it's not like his favorite thing to do or
So
whatever.
then what do you like to
so-
do when you go on a date?
Well, we haven't been on one in a while, so I've kind of forgot.
So we need to watch your kids so you can go on a
Yes,
date.
please watch my kids. No, it's because of, we had a baby, and then there
We
was
had COVID.
Corona, and then so there's been no time for a date, thanks Corona.
Thanks.
We do like to play video games together. Maybe not
Yeah.
necessarily like playing it together, but like one of us watching the other one.
Yeah.
So that can be fun, especially when there's no distractions or whatever. So, but yeah.
I know, yeah, I think just got creative, so once the girls were in school, and then Nathan,
Right.
like we would meet up and have a lunch date, and we just get
Right.
together and have lunch someplace.
Right. I
So
think our
that's
last
what
date
we do.
was our anniversary in December, and we
Yeah.
just ran around town all day basically and watched the Chiefs beat smack, not even beat, smack the Raiders.
Smack the
'cause
Raiders.
He's a Raiders fan.
He is.
Pray for him.
He needs a lot of prayer.
Lots of prayer. Raiders fan. Ah. Who would you rather be quarantined with, Luke or Han Solo?
Han Solo. I'm talking about, like, Luke's a whiner, and Han Solo's better looking, and, really, more entertaining too, so I think there'd be just better dialogue.
Right.
And who knows what trouble we would get into being quarantined with Han Solo than Luke. What about you?
Well, first of all, to you Star Wars fans who think Luke is the end-all be-all, first of
No.
all, that dude is the most whiniest little thing I have ever seen. Like, go back and just watch
point.
the
Right there.
thing. And
Watch
he
it all.
is whiny from point A to point how we die, literally. I can't get off the island, whatever. I love Luke to death, but he's not like
No.
macho or anything.
He was
He is total humble almost to a fault.
He was never my favorite.
He's never been, he's very important clearly, but he's
Very.
never been a favorite character of mine. So that means I would also choose Han Solo
Yeah.
because of these reasons. Yours are valid. He comes with the Millennium Falcon.
True.
So if we have to be quarantined somewhere, that's where we would be quarantined. And he comes with Chewie.
I know, I was just gonna say, I'd rather be quarantined with Chewie than either of the
So-
two, but.
But yeah, so, and the chance to be able to I am blanking on his name because all I can think of is the actor's name.
Harrison Ford?
Nope,
No.
Donald Glover. Who does he play? What is that guy's name?
Wait, which one?
You could count me out of the fandom now, Star Wars people.
Wait, which? Confused.
The black guy.
Right,
Lando!
Yes.
Thank you!
right.
I totally
I
skipped
just
out on
watched
Lando.
those too, because we just watched the old ones.
How
We
did-
watched 4, 5, and 6.
He's not.
Lando's in 5.
Donald Glover was.
I didn't know that was his name. I don't know actors' names very much.
I
and so
only,
didn't
yeah,
realize.
anyway, it was just a really big deal when he accepted the Lando role. Anyway, I love Lando. I would love to meet Lando. So really, if I could be friends with Han just to get to Lando.
Right, but in quarantine, there's no friends. It's
But
just one of them.
well, he still comes with Chewie. He still comes
He
with
does come with Chewie. Or does Han Solo come with Chewie?
Chewie. Okay, actually, but this question is invalid, technically. Because they're
Why?
both dead
They are both.
right now.
Only in this series.
No. In the whole storyline, they are
Right,
both dead.
right. But
They're
Harrison
in-
Ford
in-
is still very much alive, so he could just be an old Han Solo.
No, but this is asking, no. See, Star Wars is more of a real thing for me than just actors. Technically, this question is impossible because in storyline, they are
Okay,
both
so
dead.
just say go back in
If
storyline.
you could go back to any,
Go back to in storyline.
just whoever wrote this, I'm just saying, technically this is impossible because they are both gone. And we saw the dead bodies. So that means they can't come back. Because that's a rule in Star Wars.
It is a rule.
If you don't see a dead body, they can come back. Hence, spoiler alert, Palpatine. In the
Yeah.
newest one.
I know.
It's been out long enough. If I just ruined that for you, that's your fault.
That is definitely your fault. Okay.
Okay, off
What's
of
next?
Star Wars. Sorry. What is
You're
the
good.
best thing that you love to do with your kids?
I want to say go camping because I really miss going camping. I've been outside 4 days in a row. I think I don't know what the best thing that I love doing with the girls is right now, but some of it's just chilling and laughing and like making crap up. Like I think it's our conversations that we get to have is the best thing that I really value right now with them. But we watch a lot of, we're going through old movies now too. So like we're watching older movies. So it's awesome. We watched Bedknobs and Broomsticks again the other day.
Ugh.
And that there was, the
I'm
Cat
gonna
from
go
Outer
home and make
Space. Oh, I love that movie. And now I want him to watch like a bunch of the other older ones. We watched
Chitty
Thor
Chitty
again.
Bang
That's a really good one. We watched the original Thor, and then Jericho's like, no, Thor Ragnarok is like my favorite. And I was like, oh yes, like they.
Good one.
It is a good one because it's funny. And then
Star Wars is better.
she was like, when Thor opens and he's just like dangling there, and he's like, wait, hold on, just a minute. Like he's turning and things are going. Like I'm like, I love it. So it's probably like what we do the most is like, and then grabbing dessert at night and figuring out what we're all gonna eat. What about you? What's your favorite thing to do with the kids right now?
So my children are still very young.
They are.
That they are still figuring out what they really like and what they don't like. It is really like today. I wasn't there, so I guess my answer is I love whatever my kid is enjoying doing. I
Yeah.
love those moments. Like it doesn't have to be a specific thing.
Yeah.
But like earlier today, Isaiah took the girls outside, and my oldest saw a worm and picked it up and proclaimed that she needed to release it back to the wild. Her exact words.
Jaded. Oh, I love it.
And so she carried it to the grass to the other side of the parking lot, and I was just like, but she
Oh yeah.
really took that moment on, and so even though it was a little bit funny, I was like, oh, I love this. I love
Yeah.
this moment. So
Yeah.
anything that, like, she loves
Mm-hmm.
camping. They both, towards the end of the football season, started really cheering for the Chiefs with me, and that was fun. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
just whatever brings them joy is pretty awesome for me.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're gonna go to the opposite side of things. Stop.
Opposite side.
Stop.
I can't see that far away. Like
Oh,
I
you
can,
can't?
but I
How many
really.
fingers?
There's two, but I really can't read the print on that paper.
was just
I'm just gonna let you know.
Just a joke. What is the worst pet peeve?
Hearing someone chew. Right now, like, the other day, Nathan was in the dining room eating his cereal, and I put...
Nathan, her husband.
My
That's right.
husband, okay. So, well, he's like, I don't know, the more stressed I get, the more annoying. So, like, if my kids will come up behind me and they'll be, like, chewing something, I'm like, move, like, I just can't handle it right now. And so, like, the other day, I put headphones in so I didn't have to hear him eat his cereal from the other room. Like, it was, so that's my worst pet peeve. Like, right now in the moment, I don't want to listen to people eat.
I do hate that. I have hated that
can't-
my entire life.
can't
Like
handle-
somebody chewing with their mouth open or anything, I can't
Even
do it.
his jaw pops when
Ugh,
he's eating. And
no.
so, and then the girls come up behind me and they're like chewing and I'm like,
Hey, remember I said I was expecting a phone call?
is that your doctor?
Time out.
Time in.
Okay, so the worst the worst pet peeve. Also the chewing. But I'm also, dear, I'm turning into my father,
Okay.
and I cannot stand if somebody leaves a light on in the house and they're not in that room.
Oh, see, I'm like, you
Like
wouldn't
if-
like living with me.
Nope.
Because I want
I
it
mean,
to
I
be
wouldn't like
light.
living with you for multiple reasons, probably.
But no, like, so from the other standpoint, like, I dislike the dark so much that I want to be light when I walk in the room. I don't like looking at my dining room and it being dark.
Okay, so I totally agree with that. So maybe we could live together.
Okay.
But like that's why I have those lights, the Christmas tree lights in
Yeah.
my house, because they're not super bright
Yeah.
and they're a comforting light. So at night I turn
Right,
those
yeah.
on, and that's throughout our entire house.
Okay.
Because it literally goes from the living room down
Oh,
the
yeah.
hallway and
Yeah.
back up. So, but like, if the girls go to the bathroom and then they leave the bathroom light on, I'm like,
Oh, yeah, no, the
and we
bathroom
only
light we turn off.
only have one bathroom for 5 people. So
Yeah.
it's like, does that mean someone's in there or what's?
True,
It's just a-
Because they shut the door too, don't
It's a
they?
pet peeve.
Sometimes when they leave. So then.
Yeah,
I think
but
they've done it
it's-
at my house. Like they'll shut the door and I'm
Yeah.
like, is there somebody in the bathroom?
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm also trying to be very.
Yeah. It costs money.
It does cost money, but also it's more environmentally friendly
Mm-hmm.
to be more conscientious of those kinds of things.
Nathan's been going through the house and turning the lights off that I've left on.
It's like a game.
It is. And so like the other day he shut it off and I was like, oh, it got dark in here. Like, just like, cause I don't know, our living room, we've got the light coming in, but when you turn off the stairs light or the dining room light, it affects the living room light. And so then he turned on the stairs light and left the dining room light off and
Interesting.
I got through it. I'm just telling you why some
So
people
now
leave lights
you know
on
that you can annoy us by eating with your mouth open,
and
basically.
leaving lights on.
And leaving lights on. Okay, for the more serious one of the day,
Okay.
although I felt like Luke and Han was very serious, but whatever.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote that, I want to have a conversation. Anyway, how can you tell when a child or kid really knows who God is and whether they believe or not?
Ooh. Do we really know when anybody
Oh,
fully
she
believes?
said it.
So I think sometimes we take them at their word and in their innocence and at the level they're at. So like Jericho was 5, and we were at the Royals like day at the K, like Faith Day at the K, and she said I accepted Jesus, and so we talked through that and what that looked like, and so that's to us her spiritual birthday, and then we talked through, and after a few years, and then she wanted to get baptized, and so I think it's just walking with them through that faith journey and asking questions, and like Scripture says, to believe as a child believes, to have the faith of a child, and so what does that look like? So do I really know where she's at? No, but I also see the fruit in her life. Like my girls last night, I was telling Tamiko, they had a Bible study last night on their own. Like she said, hey, I want to have a Bible study with you, Mackenzie, and let's do this together. And then Mackenzie from an early age, you can just see and then the day when she accepted Jesus as her Savior and then was baptized, but that heart for prayer and that concern for others, like you can see the fruit in their life. So I think for me, like that's part of that is, can you see the fruit? What do the conversations look like? And just taking them at their word. Like unless there's a reason to doubt that. Yeah. What about you?
So I'm going to take this a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
So I grew up as a PK, and so I'm very self-aware of how it feels to be a PK. So I do not force it upon my children.
I don't either.
No, I wasn't saying you were. I
Right,
was
but I'm just
coming at
saying,
it
I
from-
think-
So, like, Jaden
Yeah.
that's my oldest, is 6 now,
Mm-hmm.
and has never indicated what you were saying Jerica has. But I don't know that that opportunity has arisen either. I'm very much, like, Jaden likes to go to church because she likes to go to church. It's not because there has ever been a point in, I mean, obviously there's times where you're like, okay, we have to go to church now, we have to get ready, we have to go do this thing, but
Yeah.
I'm been really cognizant and hyper aware that I want to create faith as something that they discover on their own and that I can help lead them to it or lead them however where they are
Yeah.
when they get there.
Yeah.
And because I remember younger, not that my parents are terrible or anything, but I very kind of remember, not really well, but a little bit of my dad being like, okay, do you want to be a Christian now? Let's walk through this prayer together. And so, like,
Yeah.
when the day, if, like, I'm even
Yeah.
okay, if that day comes, then I will be ready to lead
Right.
my children. Now,
Yeah.
do they know that mommy preaches and mommy and daddy have to go do youth group and stuff? Yes, they're very aware of that.
Yeah.
So, for me, that's enough for now.
Yeah.
And I think that they both exhibit things about loving God or loving Jesus, maybe in different ways that I would put it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Jaden can rap most of my Christian rap songs because I listen to it so much. Now, for me, the enthusiasm behind it isn't just because she likes the beat or whatever. It's because she feels it. She knows it. She requests that song. And so,
Yeah.
but I also think both of my kids really love being outside and being in nature. We just talked about the worm thing.
Yeah.
Part of that is a faith aspect for me.
I think so. And like the girls, like it was definitely, because I grew up not as a pastor's kid, but parents who were really involved in the church, and my grandparents were really involved in church, so I was involved in the church. And I think, like, we had this small devotion book that we would do with the girls, and I think it was just very natural, those instances when they, like, came to us in those conversations were just, like, I think they even brought them up, which was really kind of cool. Like, I remember at the faith, she's like, Jerica said, she's like, Mommy, I need to go over there. I prayed that, and I was like, oh, okay, let's go. Like,
Right,
and so
right.
working through them, and so like we pray at meals, and like I'll say, hey, do you want to pray? And I don't make them, you know, and I pray over them, and sometimes they're like, Mom, I want to pray with you or pray over you, and I think as they grow, like it's watching them like grow in their faith is kind of cool. And so like we don't necessarily have family devotions, and then I was like, oh, I feel kind of bad that we don't do that, but I think God is so much involved in our life and in just a day-to-day aspect because I am the pastor and because there's stuff going on that we've involved prayer so much from the beginning that, like, and I'll ask them sometimes. I remember, like, Kinsey will be like, "What did you start?" And I was like, "Have you had your quiet time yet?" Just trying to instill some of those things in them because they have professed to believe. So really that, like, this is what this looks like, but it looks different for every kid.
Right.
So,
So my husband Isaiah did not grow up in church. In fact, he didn't start going to church until he was, or regularly anyway, until he was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
So faith for their father is a very practical thing and whatever. Where I come from, obviously being a PK, more of the systematic side. So they're getting a mix of both.
yeah.
And more often that practicality is going to win because I've seen the benefit of that. And so
Yeah.
I also think parenting is a day-by-day thing, and you just have to take it one day at a time.
Yes.
But our kids are very different ages, so.
They are. And like now, so like it was really cool last night when they came downstairs and they were like, okay, Mom, hey, here's our Bible study. And they were showing me the stuff that they did, and that they were asking questions about, like God, and if it was just waters, like then how did Jesus, like, how did they stand there if it was just water? And I was like, well, Jesus wasn't in bodily form yet, like, and so having some of those questions, I'm like, I can't really answer that. Like, well, what was God before the earth? And was the earth, like, was the water everywhere? Well, no, it couldn't be everywhere because, God created the galaxies. And just them processing through that was really, like, I'm excited for, like, the conversations that we get to continue to have because they ask really hard
Right.
questions at 12 and 13. Like, they're really...
As they should, because
And-
their youth pastor is amazing.
But I think just for them, like, that
No, that's just teenager.
and
That's a
but they're
definition of a teenager.
right, and they're wrestling with the truth on their own, and they're not but they're also bringing it to us, and that's an exciting thing.
Right.
Like, to watch them grow in their faith.
But just broadly,
Yeah.
I think the only way you can tell if someone knows that they love God or that they're following Jesus is by how they act.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Yeah.
and if, I am really struggling to not be a cynical person and say I love Jesus, because to me that's two contradictory things.
Yeah.
And so, especially with all the terrible things going on in the world, so that
Yeah.
doesn't mean I'm happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
Because that's just as, in my opinion, that's just as bad as the other, so, but it's about being real and authentic. You will know if someone is a Christian or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good stuff.
Yes, so, thanks for coming to another Ask the Pastor, or Ask, I don't know, whatever we're calling this. We need to put a
So it says
banner
ask
up
the
here.
pastors. Like,
It
we
does
need,
say
like,
ask the
I can have our
pastors.
kids, like, make one. and-
ATK.
No.
No, ATP. What is ATK?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Corona is winning this week, guys.
Yes.
Quarantine is
You
winning
know what?
this week.
You know what? God is victorious. It's
Right.
It's gonna be a better week.
This looks like, right now, our week has started out looking like the San Francisco 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl.
That
And
is what it's looking
and,
like.
And we're waiting for that fourth quarter comeback
Yes,
by
we are.
Jesus and company. So,
And it's gonna be better.
it's going to be better. Anyway, drink coffee, stay safe, wash your hands, stand 6 feet away, and we'll see you next week.